Commander Tae-ho Kim looked out the viewport as his ship approached the massive space station. The Nexus was huge, bigger than any structure humans had ever built. It hung in space like a metal star, with 13 long arms stretching out from its center. Each arm belonged to one of the 13 alien races that ruled the galaxy. Tae-ho straightened his blue uniform and touched the Earth patch on his shoulder. He was the first official human envoy to the Galactic Council. His mission was simple but important. Ask for Earth to join the Council and get access to advanced alien technology. "Docking in 5 minutes, Commander," said the pilot. Tae-ho nodded. "Remember your orders. Stay alert while I'm inside. If anything seems wrong, send the warning message to Earth immediately." The ship slid into a docking bay that seemed designed for much larger vessels. As the airlock opened, Tae-ho faced his first alien, a tall, slender being with pale blue skin and 4 arms. "Welcome to the Nexus, Commander Kim," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Greeter First Class. Please follow me to decontamination before your meeting with Senior Diplomat Park." As they walked, Tae-ho noticed how other aliens stopped to, stare at him. Some looked curious, others seemed worried or angry. Humans were newcomers to space travel. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light technology 15 years ago, while some council races had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. After a quick scan in a chamber filled with purple light, Tae-ho was led to a large room, with windows looking out at the stars. A woman in formal clothes stood waiting. She looked fully human, but something about her movements seemed slightly off. "Commander Kim," she said with a small bow. "I'm Jisoo Park, Senior Diplomat to the Council. It's good to see another human after all these years." Jisoo had been part of an early cultural exchange program, sent to live among aliens 30 years ago, before humans could travel the stars themselves. She had spent more time with aliens than with her own kind. "Thank you for the welcome," Tae-ho said. "Earth is eager to establish formal relations." Jisoo's smile faded a little. "The Council is divided about Earth. Some see humans as promising new allies. Others see danger in how quickly your people advance. Just 15 years ago, you had no star travel. Now you have 20 colony ships and are building warships with technology you've adapted from studying crashed alien vessels." Tae-ho kept his face neutral. "We're explorers, not conquerors. Our ships are for protection only." "I understand that," Jisoo said. "But I must warn you, the Archons in particular see humans as a threat. Their Supreme Arbiter Vex has significant influence here." "Who are the Archons?" Tae-ho asked. "You'll meet them soon enough," Jisoo answered. "They're one of the oldest council races, reptilian, methodical, and deeply suspicious of change. They've been gathering information about Earth for decades." Before Tae-ho could ask more questions, a chime sounded. Jisoo looked up. "It's time. The full council will see you now." They walked through wide hallways until they reached massive double doors carved with symbols from 13 different alien languages. "Remember," Jisoo whispered, "be respectful but confident. Show no fear, but also no aggression. You represent all of humanity today." The door swung open silently, revealing a vast circular chamber. 13 raised platforms formed a ring around a central speaking area. On each platform sat representatives of the different council races. Some were humanoid, others completely alien, from crystalline structures that pulsed with light to floating gas clouds contained in special suits. As Tae-ho walked to the center, he felt the weight of dozens of alien eyes watching his every move. He stopped on a round platform that lifted him several feet into the air so all could see him clearly. A tall, gray-skinned alien with scales and yellow eyes stood. "The Council recognizes Commander Tae-ho Kim of Earth," it said in a deep voice. "I am Supreme Arbiter Vex of the Archon Dominion and current Council Chair." Tae-ho bowed slightly. "I bring greetings from Earth and our 20 colonies. We seek friendship and knowledge." For the next hour, Tae-ho presented Earth's petition for provisional council membership. He showed images of Earth's achievements, explained human culture, and outlined what Earth could offer the galactic community. When he finished, questions came from all directions. a shimmering cloud being asked. How do humans justify developing weapons based on salvaged alien technology? Without permission? A small, furry creature wanted to know. Why have humans spread to 20 star systems in just 15 years, when most species take centuries to expand so far? The questions grew more hostile. Tejo answered each one calmly, but he could feel the mood in the room turning against him. Vex watched with unblinking yellow eyes, saying nothing but occasionally making notes. Finally, Vex raised a clawed hand for silence. We have heard enough. The council will deliberate privately. Commander Kim will be summoned when we reach our decision. As Tejo was escorted out, he caught Jisu's eye. She looked worried. Later that evening, at a formal reception for visiting dignitaries, Jisu found Tejo alone by a window. Something is wrong, she whispered urgently. The Archons are pushing for severe action against Earth. I've intercepted communications. A blue-skinned security officer appeared suddenly. Senior Diplomat Park, your presence is required elsewhere. We'll speak later, Jisu said as she was led away, but they didn't speak again. The next morning, Tejo was awakened by 4 armed guards. You are summoned, one said flatly. They took him not to the council chamber but to a smaller, darker room. The walls were black stone and the room was arranged like a court. All 13 council members sat in elevated seats, looking down at a single platform surrounded by a glowing circle. Vex stood as Tejo was brought to the platform. Commander, Tejo Kim of Earth, this is the Judgment Hall. Tejo felt cold fear spread through his body. I don't understand. What is this? The Council has reviewed classified intelligence about Earth's activities, Vex said. We have determined that humanity represents an existential threat to galactic stability. Tejo tried to speak, but no sound came from his voice. Some kind of field was blocking him. Vex continued. Humans develop too quickly. You adapt technologies you don't understand. You build weapons first and ask questions later. Our projections show that within 100 years, unchecked human expansion would destabilize the entire galactic arm. From the corner of his eye, Tejo saw Jisu burst into the chamber. This is wrong, she shouted. You've presented no evidence. This violates all diplomatic protocols. 2 guards grabbed her arms. Vex ignored her completely. The Council has voted. Earth is denied membership. Furthermore, as a necessary warning to your species, this human envoy is sentenced to immediate execution. A gasp went through the chamber. Not all council members looked pleased with this announcement. The small, furry alien stood up in protest, but was quickly silenced by Vex. Tejo suddenly found his voice again. You're making a terrible mistake. Earth means no harm to anyone. This action will not frighten my people. It will unite them against you. Take him, Vex ordered. As guards approached, Tejo activated his emergency transmitter hidden in his uniform button. It would send one final message to Earth. While they secured his arms, he spoke clearly for the transmitter to pick up his voice. Attention, Earth Command. The Council has shown its true nature. They fear our potential. I am to be executed without trial. Activate Protocol Nemesis. Earth must. A guard struck Tejo from behind. As he fell to his knees, he saw Jisu fighting. Against her captors, tears streaming down her face. Several council members were arguing with Vex, but the Archon simply raised his hand for silence. The judgment is final, Vex said coldly. Let this serve as warning to all humans. Know your place in the galaxy or face extinction. The last thing Tejo saw was a bright blue light surrounding him. His final thought was not of fear, but of what would happen next. Earth would not take this lying down, and he had managed to send the code that would set everything in motion. Protocol Nemesis was now active. Earth's vengeance would soon follow. Captain Subin Park stood on the bridge of the EDS Vindication, watching her crew prepare for the mission. The ship was unlike any in Earth's public fleet. It was smaller, faster, and built for stealth. The hull was covered in a dark material that absorbed light and energy instead of reflecting it. All systems ready, Captain, reported her second-in-command, Lieutenant Min-Ho Yoon. Phantom drive is charged, stealth systems active. Subin nodded. Good. Is the extraction team prepared? Yes, Captain. 6 of our best soldiers, all equipped, with the new battlesuits. The battlesuits were another secret weapon, armor with built-in shields and neural links that let soldiers share information instantly. The technology came from a crashed alien scout ship found in the Arctic 15 years ago. Admiral Jiho appeared on the main screen. Captain Park, are you ready to begin? Yes, Admiral. My crew understands the mission parameters. Remember, Jiho said seriously, this is not about revenge. We want to rescue Diplomat Park, strike specific military targets, and show the Council, especially the Archons, that humans are not to be underestimated. Understood, sir, Subin replied. Her face showed no emotion, but inside, she still felt the pain of her brother's death. No civilian targets, precision strikes only. Good. You have authorization to depart. Earth stands with you. The screen went dark. Sabin turned to her navigation officer. Set course for the Archon homeworld. Use the mapped route through the empty sectors to avoid detection. Course set, Captain. Engage Phantom Drive, Subin ordered. The ship hummed with power. Outside the viewports, space seemed to bend and twist. Then the stars blurred as the Vindication jumped to a speed that Council scientists believed impossible for human ships. 3 days later, the Vindication dropped out of Phantom Drive at the edge of the Archon system. 3 smaller ships detached. From its hull, scout vessels with even more advanced stealth technology. No alerts detected, reported the sensor officer. Their defense grid hasn't seen us. Subin studied the tactical display. The Archon homeworld was surrounded by defense platforms and patrol ships. Under normal circumstances, no enemy could get close without detection. Send the scouts ahead. I want a full scan of their defense grid before we move in. Lieutenant Minho approached her chair. Captain, I've picked up Diplomat Park's emergency beacon. It's coming from an old maintenance station in the 3rd sector of their orbital ring. Any guards? The scans show minimal security. They don't expect anyone to reach her. Subin made her decision. Prepare the extraction team. Lieutenant Minho, you'll lead it. Get in, find Diplomat Park, and get out. No unnecessary engagement. Minho nodded. Yes, Captain. As the extraction team prepared, the scout ships returned with detailed scans of the Archon defenses. Sabin and her tactical officer studied the information. Their main defense control is here. The tactical officer pointed to a large station. Their fleet headquarters is here, and their orbital weapons platforms are controlled from this facility. Those are our targets, Subin said. But first we need to get Diplomat Park. Using the Phantom Drive for short, precise jumps, the Vindication moved through the Archon defense grid without triggering any alarms. The science officer explained how it was possible. Their sensors look for specific energy signatures, she said. Our Phantom Drive uses a completely different type of energy they don't monitor. To them, we're basically invisible unless they look directly at us with visual scanners. When they reached the position closest to Jisu's hiding place, the extraction team boarded a small shuttle. Lieutenant Minho checked his weapons one last time before addressing his team. Remember, our priority is Diplomat Park. She has critical information for Earth. Stay in neural link communication at all times. If we're discovered, we use non-lethal methods first, understand? The team nodded. All 6 soldiers activated their neural links, small devices behind their ears that connected their minds to each other. They could now share thoughts, see through each other's eyes, and coordinate perfectly without speaking. The shuttle departed silently, drifting toward the maintenance station using minimal power to avoid detection. Inside the abandoned maintenance station, Jisu Park huddled near a heating vent. She had been hiding for 5 days, moving from place to place to avoid Archon security patrols. The station was cold and dark, with only emergency lights providing dim illumination. Jisu checked her small computer pad again. The files she had stolen contained damning evidence. The Archons had created false reports about human weapons development. They claimed humans were building mind-shatter weapons that could destroy the consciousness of other species. It was a complete lie, but it had been enough to convince the Council to approve Tejo's execution. A soft noise made her look up. Someone was at the outer airlock. Jisoo grabbed her makeshift weapon, a metal pipe, and prepared to run. The airlock opened, and 6 figures in dark armor entered silently. Jisoo recognized the Earth symbol on their shoulders and nearly cried with relief. "Diplomat Park?" one of them asked softly. "I'm Lieutenant Min-ho Yoon from EDS Vindication. We're here to take you home." "Thank goodness," Jisoo said, stepping forward. "I wasn't sure if my message got through." "It did." "Are you injured?" "No, just tired and hungry." Min-ho nodded. "We have food and medical supplies on our shuttle, but we need to move quickly. Do you have the information mentioned in your message?" Jisoo held up her computer pad. "It's all here. Proof that the Archons manipulated the council vote with false evidence. And I have their defense network access codes. I worked in their systems for years. They never changed my access." "That could be extremely valuable," Min-ho said. "Let's—" An alarm suddenly blared through the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. "They've found us," one of the soldiers said through the neural link. Min-ho made a quick decision. Change of plans. Protective formation around the diplomat. "We're going out through the maintenance tunnels." As they moved, Jisoo asked, "How did they find us?" "Automated scan, probably," Min-ho replied. "We need to—" The wall beside them exploded inward. 3 Archon security officers in heavy armor appeared, weapons raised. "Halt!" one shouted. "Surrender now!" Instead of answering, the human soldiers moved with startling speed. Through their neural links, they coordinated perfectly. One fired a disruption pulse that temporarily disabled the Archon's energy shields. 2 others launched stun projectiles, and the remaining 3 formed a protective barrier around Jisoo. 3 Archons fired back, but their shots were slow and poorly aimed. They weren't used to actual combat. Most security actions in council space were ceremonial. One of the human soldiers took a hit to the shoulder but remained standing. His armor absorbed most of the energy. Another soldier tossed a smoke device that filled the corridor with thick gray clouds. "This way," Min-ho ordered, pulling Jisoo toward a side passage. More Archon security forces appeared ahead. This time there were too many to stun quickly. A firefight broke out, energy blasts flying. In both directions, Min-ho was hit in the leg and fell. 2 soldiers immediately moved to protect him while another helped him stand. "I'm fine," he insisted, though blood seeped through his armor. "Keep moving." Through their neural links, the team adapted instantly to the new situation, changing formation, sharing targets, and moving as one perfect unit. The Archons, by contrast, shouted orders and often got in each other's way. Despite being outnumbered, the humans fought their way to the exit. Min-ho's injury slowed them down, but they never left him behind. Finally, they reached the shuttle and sealed the door. "Get us out of here," Min-ho ordered the pilot. "Back to Vindication, now." As the shuttle pulled away, Archon ships started to converge on their position. But it was too late. The small craft activated its phantom drive and disappeared from their sensors. On the bridge of the Vindication, Subin received the report. "Extraction successful. Lieutenant Min-ho is injured but stable. Diplomat Park is safe and has brought valuable intelligence." "Excellent," Subin said. "Now for Phase 2. Jisoo was brought to the bridge. She looked tired but determined. "Captain Park," she said, recognizing Subin from Taeho's photos. "I'm sorry about your brother. He died with courage." Subin nodded stiffly. "His death will not be meaningless. You said you have access codes to their defense network?" "Yes." Jisoo pulled up the information on a screen. "These will let you temporarily disable their planetary shields." "Perfect." Subin turned to her tactical officer. "Prepare all weapons. Target only military installations, their fleet headquarters, defense control, and weapons platforms." The tactical officer worked quickly. "Targets locked, Captain." Subin took a deep breath. Using Diplomat Park's codes, now, on the view screen, they watched as the shimmering energy field around the Archon homeworld flickered and then disappeared. "Shields down. reported the tactical officer. We have a clear shot. Open a broadcast channel to the entire Archon system, Subin ordered. When the communication officer nodded, she spoke clearly and calmly. Attention, people of Archon. This is Captain Subin Park of Earth. This is not war. This is justice. The execution of Commander Kim was an act of murder disguised as diplomacy. We target only those responsible. Civilians will not be harmed. She nodded to the tactical officer. Fire. The Vindication's weapons released precise energy beams that struck exactly where aimed. The Archon fleet headquarters erupted in flames. Theo. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from all 13 species shouted over each other. Some pounded their tables while others waved their appendages in the air. At the center of the storm stood Supreme Arbiter Vex, his scaled face showing no emotion despite the uproar. Order, he shouted, his voice amplified by the room's systems. The council will have order. Slowly, the noise died down. Vex looked around the room with cold yellow eyes. The human attack on Archon was an act of war, he said. They destroyed military installations and bypassed our most advanced defenses. This proves what I said before. Humans are too dangerous to be allowed free access to the stars. A small, furry representative stood up. This was Mika, from the Talasian Consortium, one of the younger council races. With respect, Supreme Arbiter, Mika said, the humans only targeted military sites. They specifically avoided civilian areas. That doesn't match your description of them as mindless savages. Murmurs of agreement came from several other representatives. Vex's tail twitched in irritation. Do not be fooled by this show of restraint, he replied. It is merely the first step in their plan. We must unite against this threat. I call for a full military response, a combined council fleet to blockade Earth and its colonies. Another representative rose, a tall, blue-skinned being named Zora from the Morak Federation. Before we commit to war, Zora said carefully, perhaps we should review the evidence that led to the execution of the human envoy. Some of us voted for that action based on information provided by the Archon delegation, information we have not personally verified. Vex's scales darkened with anger. Are you questioning the integrity of the Archon Dominion? The evidence was clear. Humans were developing mind-shatter weapons, technology banned by council law for 12,000 years. Then you will not object to an independent review of that evidence, Zora replied calmly. Before Vex could answer, a technician rushed into the chamber and whispered urgently to him. Vex's face showed shock for a brief moment before he controlled his expression. This meeting is temporarily adjourned, he announced abruptly. There is a security matter that requires my attention. As the representatives filed out, many whispered among themselves. The council was beginning to divide. Back on Earth, Defense, Director Hana Choi sat in the Situation Room with Admiral Jiho Lee and Dr. Doyen Kang. On the screens around them, they watched reports coming in from across Council space. The Vindication's mission was a complete success, Hana reported. Captain Park has returned with diplomat Jisoo and the intelligence she gathered. The Archon military headquarters is in ruins, and their defense systems are in disarray. Jiho nodded, approvingly. And our losses? Minimal. Lieutenant Minho was injured but will recover. One ship took minor damage. Dr. Doyen studied the intelligence reports. According to Diplomat Park's files, the Archons fabricated evidence about human weapons development. They've been planning to move against Earth for years. Teho's mission just gave them the excuse they needed. How are the other Council species reacting to our strike? Jiho asked. Hana brought up more reports on the screens. It's causing exactly the division we hoped for. The Talasians and Moraks are publicly questioning the Archon's evidence. 3 other species have called for a review of the decision to execute Commander Kim. Good, Jiho said. Now for the next phase of our plan. We need to... An alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed on the screens. What is it? Jiho demanded. Massive energy signatures detected, Hana replied, checking the data. A fleet of ships just appeared at the edge of our solar system. Council designs, mostly Archon with some others. They bypassed our outer warning system somehow. How many? Jiho asked, his voice calm despite the danger. At least 50 capital ships, plus smaller vessels. They're heading directly for Earth. Dr. Doyen looked worried. They're moving faster than we expected. The Archons must have had this fleet ready before Tejo even arrived at the council. Jiho stood up straight, his old soldier's instincts taking over. Activate all defense systems, deploy our hidden fleet, and most importantly, prepare the Phoenix system for full operation. Hana sent the orders, then turned back to Jiho. What about evacuation? No evacuations, Jiho said firmly. That would only cause panic. Besides, if the Phoenix system works as designed, we won't need to evacuate. And if it doesn't? Dr. Doyen asked quietly. Jiho looked him in the eye. Then humanity will at least go down fighting. The Archon fleet approached Earth with supreme confidence. On the command ship, Fleet Master Krath watched the blue planet grow larger on the view screen. No sign of significant defense forces, reported his sensor officer. Their known military vessels are gathered near their moon, but there are only 40 ships. No match for our fleet. Krath nodded. Supreme Arbiter Vex was right. The humans are putting on a brave show, but they cannot stand against our real power. Prepare the main weapons. We will destroy their military installations first, then demand surrender. Fleet Master, the communication officer called out. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. Put it on screen, Krath ordered. Let's hear their surrender terms. Instead of a frightened human, Admiral Jiho Lee appeared, looking calm and composed. Archon Fleet, this is Admiral Jiho Lee of Earth Defense Forces. You have entered Earth space without permission. Reverse course immediately. Krath laughed, a harsh sound from his reptilian throat. Admiral Lee, you are outnumbered and outgunned. Your species committed an act of war against the Archon Dominion. Surrender now, or we will be forced to demonstrate our power. Jiho's expression didn't change. You executed our envoy without just cause. You lied to the Council about human weapons development. We simply responded to your aggression. This is your final warning. Leave Earth space now. Krath turned to his weapons officer. Target their largest military base on the landmass they call North America. Show them what real power looks like. The Archon weapons charged, gathering enormous energy. Then they fired, sending a massive energy beam toward Earth. The beam was powerful enough to destroy an entire city, but something strange happened. As the beam approached Earth, a shimmer appeared in the atmosphere. The beam hit this shimmer and disappeared. What happened? Krath demanded. Did we hit the target? Negative, Fleet Master, the sensor officer replied, confusion in his voice. The energy was absorbed somehow. I don't understand the readings. Fire again, Krath ordered. Full power to all weapons. The entire Archon fleet fired at once, sending multiple energy beams toward Earth. Again, the shimmer appeared and absorbed every beam. Then, something new happened. The shimmer began to glow brighter. Energy seemed to gather around Earth, forming a brilliant blue sphere. Energy levels rising on the planet, the sensor officer reported, now sounding alarmed. They're redirecting our own energy somehow. Before Krath could respond, beams of light shot up from Earth's surface. Each beam struck an Archon ship with perfect accuracy. The first 3 ships exploded instantly. Impossible, Krath shouted. Evasive maneuvers, full shields. But the human counterattack continued. More beams shot upward, each one hitting its target. The Archon shields, the most advanced in the galaxy, failed almost instantly against the concentrated energy. Fleet Master, the communication officer, said, We're receiving transmissions from several council ships in our fleet. They're retreating. On the screens, Krath watched in disbelief as ships from the Talasian, Morak, and 3 other species broke formation and moved away from Earth. They had seen enough. We can't win this fight, his second-in-command said quietly. They're using our own energy against us. The more we attack, the stronger they become. Krath's pride warred with his survival instinct. Finally, he gave the order. All ships withdraw. Return to Archon space. As the fleet retreated, Admiral Jiho Lee's voice came over the communication system one last time. Tell Supreme Arbiter, Vex, that Earth is not helpless. We do not want war, but we will not be victims. Choose your next actions carefully. News of the failed attack spread quickly through Council space. On the Nexus station, emergency meetings were called. Recordings of the battle were viewed by representatives from all 13 species. The Talesian representative Mika spoke first. The evidence is clear. The humans defended themselves without causing unnecessary destruction. They could have destroyed the entire fleet but allowed it to retreat. These are not the actions of mindless savages. One by one, other representatives voiced similar opinions. They had been told humans were dangerous because they developed too quickly. Now they wondered if quick development might simply mean innovation and adaptation, not aggression. Supreme Arbiter Vex found himself increasingly isolated. When the Morak representative formally called for an investigation into the evidence used to justify Commander Kim's execution, 7 of the 13 Council species voted in favor. The Council was dividing just as Earth had planned. And as this political battle unfolded in Council chambers, Supreme Arbiter Vex received disturbing news from his homeworld. Unknown human ships had been detected in Archon space, broadcasting the truth about the falsified evidence to citizens across the system. The game was changing. Vex decided it was time for desperate measures. If the Council wouldn't 6 months had passed since Commander Taeho Kim's execution. Much had changed in the galaxy during that time. In a large circular chamber on the Nexus station, representatives from all 13 Council species sat in their designated areas. But today, there was a 14th section, a new area marked with the Earth symbol. Admiral Jiho Lee sat there, his face calm as he watched the proceedings. The chamber looked the same as when Taeho had stood trial, but the mood was completely different. Today, Supreme Arbiter Vex was the one standing in the center, surrounded by a containment field. His scaled skin had lost its luster, and his once proud posture was now stooped. Mika, the Talesian representative, spoke first. This special tribunal of the Galactic Council is now in session. Supreme Arbiter Vex of the Archon Dominion stands accused of serious crimes, falsifying evidence, manipulating council votes, ordering an illegal execution of a diplomatic envoy, and attempting to assassinate Earth's leadership. 6 weeks earlier, Vex had sent a stealth ship to Earth with a powerful bomb. The target had been the Earth Defense Headquarters in Busan, where Admiral Lee and Director Hana would be meeting. But Earth's new detection systems had found the ship before it could deliver its weapon. The bomb had exploded in downtown Busan instead, killing 300 civilians. That attack had turned even Vex's allies against him. The images of injured human children had spread throughout the galaxy, showing everyone that Vex, not humans, was the real danger to peace. The evidence against you is extensive, Mika continued. Do you wish to speak in your defense? Vex raised his head. I acted to protect the galaxy. Humans advanced too quickly. In time they would dominate us all. I saw this threat before others did. So you fabricated evidence of prohibited weapons? Asked Zora, the Morak representative. I accelerated the inevitable, Vex replied. Their potential for weapons was there. Jisoo Park stepped forward to present evidence. She had recovered fully and now served as Earth's chief diplomat to the Council. The tribunal has reviewed the falsified reports, she said. They claimed Earth was developing mind-shatter weapons. This was a complete lie. Earth has never researched such technology. In fact, we didn't even know it existed until these proceedings. More damning evidence followed. Secret communications showing Vex had threatened other representatives to gain their votes. Plans for military action against Earth that predated Taeho's mission. And finally, direct orders for the Busan bombing. When all evidence had been presented, the tribunal members voted. The decision was unanimous. Vex was guilty on all charges. Mika announced the sentence. Supreme Arbiter Vex, You are stripped of all titles and authority. You will be imprisoned in the Tartarus facility for the remainder of your natural life. Azomo. Guards led Vex away. He looked at Admiral Lee with hatred in his yellow eyes. You haven't won, he hissed. Humans will still destroy the galaxy one day. Lee didn't respond. There was no need. The truth had already won. After the trial, the Council held a special session to address human-council relations. Jisoo Park and Admiral Lee represented Earth. Mika spoke for the Council. The actions against Commander Kim were unjust and illegal. The Council officially apologizes to Earth and offers reparations for this grave wrong. Admiral Lee stood. Earth appreciates the apology but declines financial reparations. Instead, we propose something more important, a new diplomatic protocol that would prevent such injustice in the future. The chamber grew quiet as Lee explained his proposal. The Kim protocol would require multi-species confirmation of evidence before any punitive actions can be taken against any race or individual. No single species could ever again manipulate the Council as the Archons did. The representatives discussed the idea, and once again the vote was unanimous. The Kim protocol would become Council law, named in honor of the executed Envoy. There is one more matter, Lee said. Earth formally requests membership in the Galactic Council. This request caused more debate. Some species still feared human advancement. Others worried about setting a precedent for admitting such a young species. Zora of the Murak Federation made the decisive argument, humans have shown us something important. They advanced quickly not because they are aggressive, but because they are adaptive. When faced with a threat, they didn't seek revenge, they sought justice and improvement. The Council would benefit from such thinking. The vote was taken. 10 species voted yes, 2 abstained, and only 1, the new Archon representative, voted no. Earth was accepted as the 14th member of the Galactic Council. 2 weeks later, Captain Subin Park stood in Seoul's International Plaza, watching workers complete a memorial statue. The bronze figure of Tae-ho Kim stood tall, one hand extended in friendship, the other holding a datapad with the words, "Peace through understanding," engraved on it. Beside her stood Lieutenant Min-ho Yoon, now recovered from his injuries and promoted to commander of Earth's new Joint Security Force. The force included officers from 12 Council species working alongside humans to maintain peace in disputed regions. What would Tae-ho think of all this? Min-ho asked quietly. Subin smiled slightly. He would be proud. Not of the fighting, but of what came after. Earth proved we can defend ourselves, but we also showed we prefer peace when possible. Dr. Doyen Kang approached them, accompanied by a small delegation of alien visitors, students in the new multi-species cultural exchange program. The first class is going well, Dr. Doyen reported. 20 aliens learning about Earth, and 20 humans preparing to study on Council worlds. Tae-ho's dream of cultural exchange is becoming reality. The plaza began to fill with people, human and alien alike, for the memorial dedication. Admiral Lee would give the main speech, but first, Jisoo Park stepped forward, carrying something small in her hands. Subin, she said gently, the Council returned this today. It was your brother's. She held out Tae-ho's Earth insignia, the patch he had worn on his uniform. Somehow it had survived the execution. With slightly trembling hands, Subin took the insignia and placed it at the base of the statue. She stepped back and saluted, honoring her brother's sacrifice. Behind her, representatives from all Council species watched in respectful silence. Among them was the new Archon representative, younger and more open-minded than Vex had been. He stepped forward and, to everyone's surprise, performed a traditional Archon gesture of respect toward the statue. Your brother's death changed the galaxy, he said to Subin. The Archon people are trying to learn from our mistakes. It will take time, but we hope one day to be worthy of friendship with Earth. Subin nodded in acknowledgement. The path forward would not be easy, but it was possible. As the ceremony began, Admiral Lee took the podium. 6 months ago, the galaxy saw humans as a threat because we develop and adapt quickly. Today, that same quality is recognized as our greatest strength. We faced an injustice and responded not with blind vengeance, but with targeted action and a vision for a better future. He gestured to the Phoenix Defense System diagram on display nearby, the technology that had saved Earth by turning the enemy's power back against them. Earth has agreed to share modified versions of the Phoenix system with all council races, for defensive purposes only. This technology protects without destroying. It reflects the best of what humanity can offer. As the sun set over Seoul, lights illuminated Taeho's memorial. Humans and aliens stood together, united in hope for a peaceful future. The execution of one human envoy had not brought Earth to its knees. It had awakened a sleeping giant that valued peace but mastered war. And in that balance, the galaxy found a new path forward. The stars seemed to bend for a moment. A small tear in the black fabric of space appeared, glowing with blue light. The tear grew larger, stretching wider until it formed a massive circular portal. Through this strange hole came the nose of a giant ship, dark gray metal gleaming under the light of nearby stars. "Jump complete, Admiral," Captain Jin said, his eyes fixed on the control panel. "All systems working." Admiral Han nodded slowly, his weathered face showing no emotion, but inside his heart raced. They had done it. After 10 years of planning, they had jumped right into the heart of enemy space. "Status report," Han ordered, his voice calm despite the danger they were in. "Hull integrity at 100%. Weapons ready, shields at full power," Jin replied. He was young, barely 30, but Han trusted him more than anyone else on the ship. The main screen showed their target, the Stellar Empire's Central Command Station. It was huge, shaped like an 8-sided star, with ships coming and going from its many docking bays. The station orbited between two suns, their light making the metal structure shine like a jewel. "They've spotted us," Engineer Park called from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls as she monitored the ship's new jump drive. "Their sensors are lighting up like crazy." Han stood from his command chair. He was tall for a human, with gray hair cut short in military style. His uniform was simple but carried the marks of human resistance, a blue patch showing Earth surrounded by stars. "Send the message," he ordered. "All frequencies." On the Imperial Command Station, Supreme Commander Taeho was enjoying a quiet shift when the alarms began to blare. Red lights flashed across the command center as officers rushed to their stations. "Report," Taeho demanded, rising from his chair. He was dressed in the black and gold uniform of the Empire, his rank shown by the 6 stars on his collar. "Sir, a ship has appeared out of nowhere just 10,000 kilometers from the station," an officer shouted. "Impossible," Taeho said. "Nothing can jump that close to the station. Our shields prevent it." But the main screen showed the truth. A massive warship, unlike any design the Empire used, sitting right in front of them. It was shaped like an arrow, with engines that glowed blue at the back and weapon ports visible along its sides. "Identity?" Taeho asked, his voice now softer, almost afraid of the answer. The officer's face turned pale. "Sir, it's human." The room fell silent. Everyone stopped moving. Humans were supposed to be gone, wiped out in the Great Purge 20 years ago. The Empire had destroyed Earth and hunted down every human colony and ship. At least that's what they had been told. Taeho felt his blood run cold. "That's not possible," another officer called out. "Sir, they're broadcasting a message on all frequencies." "Put it on," Taeho ordered. The screen changed to show the bridge of the human ship. In the center stood a man in a simple uniform. Taeho recognized him immediately, though he looked older now, with gray in his once black hair. "This is Admiral Han of the human stellar ship Thunderbolt," the man said, his voice clear and strong. "We have returned." Taeho felt his legs grow weak. Han. It couldn't be. Han had died in the first wave of the Purge, along with millions of other humans. "Sir, what are your orders?" an officer asked, breaking the silence. Taeho couldn't speak. He knew Han. They had been friends once before the Emperor declared humans enemies of the Empire, before the lies, before the killing. Sir, we need orders. The fleet is asking what to do. Taiho finally found his voice. Tell all ships to surround the human vessel, but do not fire. I repeat, do not fire without my order. Back on the Thunderbolt, Han watched the Imperial ships moving into position around them. They're surrounding us, Admiral, Jin said. 5 cruisers, 12 destroyers. More are coming. Han nodded. As expected, they're surprised. Good. Engineer Park approached from her station. The jump drive is cooling down, sir. We have about 6 hours before we can jump again. We won't need to jump, Han replied. Not yet. He turned to Lieutenant Yoon, who stood at the communications station. Any response from the command station? Nothing official, sir, Yoon answered. But I'm picking up a lot of chatter. They're confused. Some of them are saying it's impossible for humans to be here. Han allowed himself a small smile. They think they killed us all. The Emperor has been telling lies for 20 years. He looked around at his crew, all human, all survivors of the Purge. Some had been just children when the Empire attacked Earth. Now they were soldiers, engineers, and pilots, all fighting for the truth. Admiral, Jin called out. We're receiving a private transmission. It's encrypted with an old code. From before the Purge. Han's eyes widened slightly. Put it through to my station. He walked to his private screen and watched as a face appeared, older, wearing the uniform of the Empire, but still familiar. Han, Commander Taiho said, his voice barely above a whisper. You're alive. Hello, old friend, Han replied. Surprised to see me? Taiho's face showed pain and confusion. How? We were told all humans were eliminated. The Emperor showed us proof. Lies, Han said simply. Just like everything else the Emperor has told you. He leaned closer to the screen. You once asked me to trust you, Taiho. Now I'm asking the same. Give me 1 hour. Don't attack my ship. The Minister of Defense is on his way, Taiho said. He'll order your ship destroyed. Then, we don't have much time, Han replied. I have proof, Taiho. Proof that will change everything you think you know about the Empire. About the Purge. About why humans were really targeted. Taiho's face showed doubt, but also a flicker of something else. Hope? What kind of proof? The, kind that shows the Emperor has been lying to everyone. Not just about humans. The kind that explains why your memories of the time before the Purge are unclear. Taiho's eyes widened. Han had hit a nerve. Like many in the Empire, Taiho had gaps in his memory from around the time of the human Purge. 1 hour, Taiho finally said. No more, and this conversation never happened. The screen went black. Han returned to the bridge. Captain Jin, prepare a small team. You're going to infiltrate the command station. Jin nodded. Target? The central data core. We need to confirm it's still there before we make our next move. And if we're discovered? Jin asked. Then the Thunderbolt will have to fight its way out, Han said. But I don't think it will come to that. An old friend might just help us. He looked out at the Imperial ships surrounding them and the massive station beyond. 20 years of hiding, building strength, and gathering allies had led to this moment. The Empire thinks humans are weak, Han said to his crew. They think we're extinct. Today they learn how wrong they are. Engineer Park smiled from her station. And they'll learn why you don't corner humans. We get creative when we're desperate, Han nodded. The plan was in motion. After 20 years, humans were back in the heart of the Empire that had tried to destroy them. And this time, they brought the truth with them, a truth that would shake the Empire to its core.